widespread legal conflicts for small businesses and religious organizations. That's only half of the sentence of their conclusion, isn't it?
Well, that's the focus. Doug Laycock, Robin Fretwell Wilson, people on both sides of the debate agree.
Well, let's talk about Doug Laycock, because he supports same-sex marriage, and the fact is that in their conclusion they say without religious accommodation it will create legal conflicts. You didn't put that religious accommodation in your ad or in your press release. You simply took the last half of your sentence simply to say, oh, this is going to lead to all sorts of problems. It's like saying your car is going to break down unless you fill it with gas, and you leave out the unless you fill it with gas. Why did you do that?
We don't need to guess at what the consequences are. We've already seen them. You've seen Catholic Charities Adoption Agency in Massachusetts being put out of business because it couldn't, according to its religious beliefs, place children with same-sex couples. We've seen a New Jersey Methodist Association lose part of its state tax exemption because it wouldn't allow a property that it owned to be used for same-sex civil union ceremonies.
Right, because that's discrimination, and the fact is that there are laws against discrimination.
And on and on. And the fact is that if you look at the letters, all people need to do is to go to nationformarriage.org. If there's any debate about the consequences, they can read the letters themselves. They're up on our website.
Right, but in those letters, Brian, it says that there should be religious accommodation. That's what the legal scholars say. They don't say that gay marriage will simply lead to these consequences. They say it might lead to those consequences if there aren't accommodation. And the fact is, they support gay marriage. They're saying simply put some accommodation so that if a religious organization wants to have only heterosexual marriages in a church, that they don't get sued. There's nothing wrong with that.
This is simply untrue. Joe Solmonese from the Human Rights Campaign has repeatedly said that when religious organizations enter the public square, if they're not willing to do what Joe Solmonese wants them to do, then they should be punished. And the fact is that the religious...
Because if you're going to have a religion on the public square as opposed to a church, you cannot discriminate. Here's the larger issue, though. Here's the larger issue. Explain how it is that the gay couple or the lesbian couple down the street has any impact on my marriage or on yours.
Well, the couple themselves don't. The fact that you're redefining marriage as a public good redefines it for everyone, not just that couple. So what is taught in the schools changes. And you just said it. You're basically saying that you're going to limit the religious liberty of a church or church organization because you're going to say they're the equivalent of bigots.
We're going to limit their discrimination if they're used in the public square.
In the public square.
You're saying, you're not listening.
You're saying they're the equivalent of bigots in the public square.
Here's a larger issue, though. Most Americans can't understand why you selectively go after certain parts of the Bible and not others, and that's your prerogative if you want to go after certain parts.
There's nothing in this ad that talks about the Bible.
The only way the gay or lesbian couple, Brian, could be a threat to my marriage or to yours is if you really fear that maybe somehow they'll get involved in your marriage. I don't fear that. Do you worry that maybe, I don't know, somehow you're attracted to the gay couple down the street and somehow that will affect your marriage?
The American people are very smart. They overwhelmingly oppose same-sex marriage. They don't buy the arguments that you're putting forward because they understand if you change this great social good that's a nearly human universal, of course there are going to be widespread consequences. Of course there's going to be effects. And the idea that there aren't.
And that's exactly not what the legal scholars say. The legal scholars say there will not be those effects if people simply take reasonable religious accommodation, something you don't put in your press release, something you don't put in your ad.
People can decide for themselves by going to the website.
That maybe your decision to sort of selectively edit the legal scholars is based not on logic, because there's no logic to doing that.
The entire letter is available on the website. The entire letter is available at the website at Nation.
It is obviously important to all of us that homosexual marriage does not become the law of the land. Let me tell you that for every logical argument we can bring to show that it's a very bad idea, the other side, spreading the stain of secular socialism, will bring 3 better arguments that it's a very good idea, and then it's simply our argument against theirs.
It turns out that you have to go into rehab if you use the word faggot. So